but it's getting better because the internet is getting so much larger and way more powerful than, let's say, the dunces that represent the national news media, ABC, CBS, NBC. Yeah, I'm calling them dunces. Think about it. We have Anthony Miller out here. Anthony Miller, congressman. He resigns from the GOP. He resigns from his position out there in Arizona. Why? Because he was receiving death threats. White boys will walk up to him on the street, bring out nooses, threaten to kill him. And this brother, GOP and all, Republican and all, on their side, was on their side, figured out, hey man, I am so black. I love this money, but I am so black. I quit. I quit. It was no longer important to him anymore. Not at all. He had survived an undiagnosed heart condition, which sent him into cardiac arrest 6 years ago. He won the district seat. In fact, made history by winning that seat and becoming chairman. As well as he ran a marathon with his wife and son and beat them both to the finish line. But even with all that, he quits. Now, the GOP, they're calling him a pussy. Now, I can see Anthony Miller sitting there at his desk and he hears about this shooting and he realizes not only has he been getting these death threats and that they are most definitely for real after this day, that he just says, fuck it. He's like, look, it's no longer important to me. This desk is not important. My stapler is not important. Notepad, memo pad, computer, no longer important. These posters with my face on it after winning this seat, not important. But my black ass is. He joined the Republican Party knowing that there were crazy racists over there, but he was going to get a check. But like the intelligent black man that I've been warning you guys about, he has sense enough to realize once they start shooting white women, he doesn't have long. He's like, I got emails, I got mail, all saying the same thing. We are going to kill your black ass. Now, Miller, he's campaigning for John McCain back when John McCain was running against Barack Obama. And he was heavily criticized by the more conservative party members who supported Republican opponent J.D. Hayworth. But beyond that, what Miller does recall is that he was being called McCain's boy. And during the campaign, saw a critic form his hands in the shape of a gun and pointed it at him. Now at another event in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, Miller told the Huffington Post that someone called out, "There's Anthony, get a rope." Now, Miller told State Republican Party Chairman Randy Pullen he was quitting. Today, my wife of 20 years asked me, do you think that my precinct committee members will shoot at our home? So with this being said, I'm stepping down from the LD20 GOP chairman. I will make a statement on Monday. So he was like, fuck it. I'm done. He made a great statement and was out. Now, I'm waiting for that to hit the national news. And Miller wasn't the only one. The newly elected District 20 Republican Secretary, Sophia Johnson of Ahtuki, first Chairman Roger Dickerson of Tempe, and Jeff Kolb, the former district spokesman from Ahtuki, also quit. This singular focus on getting Anthony Miller was one of the main reasons I chose to resign. Kolb said in an email to another party activist. Kolb confirmed the contents of the email to the Republic. So how serious are they about me dying? Now, Gabby Gifford's father pointed it out absolutely realistically. He said it was the Tea Party that did this to his daughter. Yeah, he's right. But see, the dunces at the national level, the national news media, wah, 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 they're blacking that part out. They just said, well, he just resigned. That's all. I mean, watch the news report, and that was it. He resigned, but not why he resigned. And see, that's what's going on in terms of what people are figuring out on the internet. Even reading Gerald Lautner's writings. A lot of people read that. And a lot of people saw exactly what Gerald Lautner was saying, even though he's a complete lunatic. But we've all known this for a while. The morons on the national news media level, and I'm sorry, you all, if y'all listening right now, you all are the worst newslets out, period. They're all laughing at you. Every news outlet across the globe is laughing at you morons. If your name happens to be David Gregory, they think you're an idiot. I think you're an idiot because you guys come out with this both sides crap. Both sides. And it's the most ridiculous thing any of us have ever heard. Both sides. How in the world can it be both sides if one side is getting shot and the other side is doing the shooting? The other side is doing the propaganda. The other side is they're lunatics talking up crazy people. But both sides are guilty. See, that's not reporting the truth 100% correctly. And that's why people, the American citizens, especially liberals, are tired of Diane Sawyer, are tired of Brian Williams, and whoever the people are on Channel 2. I'm sorry, Lester Holt, you got to go down with them. You all know that you're complicit putting out misinformation, not the full truth, to the American populace. That's why the American populace is talking about you so bad. That's why you got Jink talking about you. That's why you got bloggers talking about you. We all think you're stupid. And I'm talking about Meet the Press too. I'm talking about, this week with Christiana Amanpour. We're all tired of you guys. You got these round tables. They're filled with Republicans. And then you put the weakest Democrats you can on there, or liberals you can on there, and none of them fight properly for what they believe in. It was just an embarrassment last week to have Gabby Gifford's friend and associate agree with the Tea Party member that puts it out there, both sides are guilty. Both sides need to stop, And she goes along with yeah, both sides. And she's a Democrat. Yes, both sides need to stop. What the hell? Look, we know you guys don't know how to fight. We know that you guys are weak. You and the Democratic Party. But you guys got to do something. You just can't wait for the Republicans to fail miserably. You just can't just keep taking the money and think that the American people are going to be okay with that. The American people have figured out that they have to do for themselves at this point. And believe me, they're working on it. We're all working on that. I'd wish that the Democratic Party would fight harder. I wish that the news media, the ABCs, CBSs, because you all are so freaking irritating. It annoys us. That's the blogging community, the YouTube community, whatever community, Facebook, whatever. It boggles the mind that we are smarter than you all. It boggles the mind that you all are going after Julian Assange for doing your job better than you and saying how he's a terrorist, how he should be assassinated, and how he is guilty of everything that you guys do or supposed to do on a daily basis. You just do a piss poor job of it. He did it better than you. And you all can't call both sides on him because you're the other side. So that's why you don't say both sides. You just call him a terrorist. But the interesting thing about it is that what people know, us on the internet, us bloggers, us YouTubers, the ones who make the videos, is that all the information that Julian Assange put out, there are 0 deaths associated with it. 0 deaths. But all the propaganda that the Republicans put out there from Fox cable news channel, that you and the national news media protect, by the way, that you are complicit with, by the way, we got 13 wounded and 6 dead, including a 9-year-old girl and a judge. I have to give Barack Obama credit for making a speech that would make the country feel better about the ridiculousness of the GOP. That was a good job, and they needed that. So that's one thing that this president, that Barack Obama, can do. He can deliver a proper eulogy. So, and you know, the first lady, she looked great, sitting in the audience, you know, and holding that man's hand, you know, that man's arm. She did a great job there, you know. So that's what I'm going to say about that. But the GOP, man, wow. Let's look at it this way. It's not like this hasn't happened before. Let's look at Bill O'Reilly and listen to him talk about Dr. Tiller.
George Tiller in Kansas, known as Tiller the baby killer. Dr. George Tiller, known as Tiller the baby killer. Tiller the baby killer. The notorious Tiller the baby killer. I wanted George Tiller and Tiller the baby killer going, hey, I can make more money killing babies now. Tiller is executing fetuses in his Wichita clinic for $5,000. Tiller performs scores, perhaps thousands, as we've reported. Tiller aborts thousands of babies pretty much for any reason.
Also, much like what Sarah Palin put out there in terms of a map. Let's look at that. Now, Dr. Tiller and several other abortion doctors, they also have propaganda paperwork put out on them. Wanted paperwork from the GOP, from the right wing, from the Tea Party. He also had this information put out about him, addresses, where to find him, and other abortion doctors. And they shot him dead at church. At church, man. And the GOP jumps up on television. Their reporters jump up on television. Their propagandists jump up on television and say, how are we guilty? Why are you calling us evil? Well, at what point can we call you evil? You know, I've asked questions like this before. At what point can we call you evil? Let's talk about the Jewish population for a second. They're upset, and rightfully so, at Sarah Palin, because she put out a statement, not apologizing, not saying that she was wrong. And the reason why the GOP doesn't say that they're wrong is because if they do, they will slip to the liberal side. They will feel like they're weak. So they never apologize. But they never apologize. That would make them too good of people, obviously. So like evil people, they use words like blood libel. That's what they used to say about Jewish people in Europe. Blood libel. They would tell their little Christian children that Jewish people would snatch Christian children and use their Christian baby blood from you Christian children to put in their matzo ball soup so it tastes good to them. That's propaganda. That's projecting onto a group evil thoughts so that people can do dastardly things to them. Now, For a long time, that was ignored by the Jewish population. Not to put fault on them, but it was ignored because they couldn't believe how far these crazy people can push things. So when you say both sides, and when you ignore an obvious problem, obvious evil, and your people, and because you're trying to be liberal, you find yourself ending up on trains on your way to ovens. See, this is why the Jewish people, they say never again, because they had a problem within their community where the passive ones, they were in power, where the more, they weren't willing to fight. Well, they wanted to ignore what was happening. Never again, or the poem they came for. See, they figured it out, how to survive all this. And it really comes down to this. The Jewish people in Germany during World War II, who believed in flight, they ran. The ones who believed in fighting, they fought. But the vast majority of the population were passive. They ended up on those trains and trucks. So did some of the fighters who got caught. So did some of the fighters who tried to run. Millions died in gas ovens because that propaganda was allowed to continue. See, we can't allow that to continue here in America. We won't allow that to continue here in America. America has something special. It has plenty of minorities who are unwilling to just stand down, unwilling to accept both sides. And that also includes a heck of a lot of white people who are unwilling to just accept the both sides argument. So my statement to all of you here is really simple. And I'm going to put this little seed into all your liberal minds, because never again is so important. This is what happens when you push liberals too far. But we have the history to back us up. But the statement is, and you can repeat it all over the net, and it's very important that you do. In the cases of propaganda, in the cases of extreme racism, in the cases of Mein Kampf, in the connection between blood libel and this evil rhetoric that comes out of the GOP, what would Israel do? I'll say again, what would Israel do in the face of this problem? That's what the GOP has to remember. We skip every time the liberals do. From offensive debate, it goes from healthy debate, defensive debate, to offensive debate. We skip easily to what would Israel do. So keep that in mind, GOP. Keep that in mind, right wing. Keep that in mind, KKK. Keep that in mind, neo-Nazis. When faced with certain genocide, what would Israel do?